The chainsaw screamed like an animal being killed. I stood on the porch, coffee cooling in my hand, watching my wife carve into the earth beneath the old neem tree, the one we planted 18 years ago. Wetting mud still under our nails, promises whispered into the soil like prayers meant to rot. She didn't look at me when she said it. "Sentimental trash," she muttered, teeth clenched, blade biting deeper. "I'm sick of it." Wood splintered. Roots tore. Something ancient and patient gave way. I felt it before I understood it. That quiet, internal snap. The sound a man makes when something irreplaceable is finally broken. The tree fell sideways, slow and heavy, crashing into the dirt. Dust rose, birds scattered, and then I saw it. Not the stump, not the torn roots, the metal edge, rusted, square, half-buried, like a secret that had waited long enough. My heart didn't race. It went cold. She wiped sweat from her forehead and laughed, sharp and dismissive. "See? Nothing but rot." I stepped forward without asking permission. Dropped to my knees. My fingers brushed against corroded steel. Her laughter stopped. "What are you doing?" she asked. Not curious, alarmed. I ignored her. Dug with my hands. Dirt packed under my nails. Years collapsed into seconds. The box came free with a wet sound. Heavy. Sealed. My name scratched into the lid. Not written. Scratched. My throat tightened. Not fear. Recognition. I stood up slowly, box in my hands, and finally looked at her. She was pale now. Very still. Eyes fixed on the thing she had tried so hard to keep underground. "That was buried for a reason," she said. Too fast. I smiled. It felt unfamiliar. Inside the house, I opened it alone. Photographs first. Old, glossy, faded at the edges. Her face in all of them, but never with me. A hospital wristband. A newborn's foot. A man's hand I didn't recognize resting on her stomach. Then documents. Dates. Signatures. A DNA report folded so many times it looked soft. I sat on the floor. The room tilted. 18 years didn't unravel loudly. They unraveled neatly. Like thread pulled from a well-made lie. When she knocked on the door, I didn't answer. When she cried my name, I didn't move. I just stared at the final page and realized the tree wasn't what she was afraid of. It was what it had been hiding. I didn't confront her. That's the mistake desperate men make. They rush toward noise, toward answers shouted too loudly to be true. I became quieter. For days, I played my role perfectly. Ate dinner, asked about her day, nodded at the right moments. Slept beside her without touching. She mistook my calm for ignorance. That was her second mistake. At night, while she slept, I read everything again. The hospital records confirmed a birth that happened while I was on assignment. The dates aligned too cleanly to be coincidence. The DNA report didn't scream. Betrayal, it whispered it. Professionally, clinically, final. Probability of paternity, 0%. 18 years. I watched my son, no, the boy, tie his shoes one morning. Tongue between his teeth just like the man in the photographs. Same hands, same posture, same unconscious confidence. I felt nothing. Not anger, not grief, just a hollow recalibration. Like discovering gravity works differently than you were taught. I pulled phone records next. Old backups, archived numbers, one contact saved under a woman's name. Text history carefully pruned but never fully erased. People forget how much data remembers. I didn't need to read every message. The gaps told me enough. Meetings during late shifts, hotels during conferences, silence when she claimed exhaustion. I followed once, just once. Sat in my car across the street from a cafe that smelled like burned sugar and regret. Watched her laugh too freely. Touch his wrist too easily. The man from the photos. Older now, comfortable, certain. A life that had continued without me. I drove home before they noticed. No scene, no confrontation. I don't believe in warning shots. Instead, I planned. A lawyer first, quiet, efficient, no questions asked. When I slid the documents across the desk, he only raised an eyebrow when he saw the timeline. "She buried this well," he said. "She thought so," I replied. Then I prepared the delivery. Divorce papers, clean, irrevocable, and the box. I cleaned it carefully. Removed the dirt. Left the rust. Some things deserve to look like what they are. A week after the tree fell, I left early for work. Or so she thought. I mailed the envelope at noon. By evening, my phone vibrated. Once, then again, then relentlessly. I let it ring. Finally, a message broke through. That secret was buried for 18 years. I stared at the screen. Typed slowly. So was I. I turned the phone face down and waited. She didn't come home that night. I knew where she was anyway. The house stayed quiet. Too quiet for a place that had carried lies for nearly 2 decades. I sat at the dining table with the box in front of me. Lid open, documents aligned perfectly. Evidence doesn't need drama. It only needs light. She returned just before dawn. Her eyes were swollen. Not from crying. From panic. "You sent this to me," she said, holding up the envelope like it was contaminated. "You could have talked to me." I didn't stand. Didn't invite her closer. "You talked," I said. 18 years ago." Silence fell hard. She noticed the box then. Her breath hitched. Instinctively, she reached for it, then stopped, like someone remembering a stove was hot. "You opened it," she whispered. "I read it," I corrected. She sat down slowly, carefully, as if sudden movement might shatter what little balance she had left. "I was going to tell you," she said. "That line is universal. Every liar learns it early." I slid the DNA report across the table. She didn't touch it. Didn't need to. Her face folded inward, collapsing into something small and exposed. "He was never yours," she said. Not defensive, relieved, like confession had finally found air. "I know." She looked up sharply. "You know?" "I've always known," I lied. It was the kind of lie that ends conversations forever. Her mouth opened, closed. The room seemed to shrink around her. Years of certainty evaporated in seconds. "You stayed?" she asked. "All this time?" I met her eyes for the first time since the tree fell. "I stayed because I chose control," I said. "Not love." That broke her. She cried then. Quietly. Desperately. Hands over her face. Like she could hide from consequence. I didn't watch. I slid the final paper forward. "Custody clarification. Legal boundaries. Clean exits." "You destroyed the tree," I said, standing at last. "I just removed the roots." A week later, the house was empty. No photos on the walls. No echoes worth keeping. I left the box on the kitchen counter when I walked out. Lid open. Truth exposed to the air for the first time in 18 years. Some secrets rot underground. Others wait patiently. For the right person to stop pretending they don't feel the ground shifting. I didn't lose a family. I reclaimed myself. And that was never buried at all.